Several years ago, I got a call from a friend of mine who taught a family business and entrepreneurship class down in Maryland. And I was kind of a younger guy at the time. He said, I'd really like you to come down and talk to my students towards the tail end of the year, the semester, about your experience being in and running a family business. And I remember I said, well, that's a little odd. I think I was 28 at the time. I'm not so far away from a college student. What the heck? What kind of experience can I actually give them? And he said, well, Bob, you don't have gray hair and you look like them, so they're more likely to listen to you. So for several semesters, I would come down towards the tail end of his class. I would give the presentation about this is our family business. These are the family members that work in it. These are the jobs we do. I'd tell them a little bit about my story, about how I got involved. And then at the end, there was always Q&A. And all of the questions, almost all of them, from those students throughout every semester, really centered around one key question. They'd phrase it in different ways, and they'd try to think of a very polite way to ask, what happens when you have a disagreement with one of your family members while you're working with them? What they wanted was they wanted to hear, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. And that was fair. Many of them were in family businesses, and it's something that causes a lot of anxiety for people. I mean, forget about the business part. Just having an argument with a family member, somebody you've grown up to love and maybe respect, causes a lot of anxiety. And I never really wanted to get into any of those disagreements because they were private. They were between me and my siblings and my relations. So I used to think of a way to sort of get around the question. But the last time I ever went there, same question was asked. And for one reason or another, I answered it differently. I remember saying, I know what you're asking. You want to hear about what does that argument look like? What gets said? How do you deal with them? I said, a couple of years ago, I had some friends who were in a family business, and they tore each other apart because they couldn't get along. They were siblings, and they not only did they wreck the company, but they wrecked their friendships, and yet they still couldn't get out of that business. They all had to keep working together, and they hated each other. And I said, the thing about a family business, or frankly, just a family in general, is throughout all of the ups and downs, the arguments, the disagreements, there's at the core of it a lot of love. That's what gets you through those difficult times. That's what helps you say those difficult things that maybe need to be said. They come from a place of love, not anger or jealousy or a desire to hurt someone. And I said, if you don't have that, whether it's a family business or just a family in general, if you don't have love, you're just in business or hanging out with a bunch of people who you happen to be related to or share the same DNA with. Because ultimately, in the end, if you love somebody, you want the best for them. You know? I love my wife. I want everything to go right for her. I love my children. I want them to have the best life they can. I love my siblings. I want them to be as successful as possible. When you love somebody, you'll go that extra mile for them. You'll tolerate what might in any other instance be intolerable because you want to see them succeed and you want to see them have the best life that they can. And that's what gets you through difficult times, and that's what actually makes you a real family business or just a real family. Sometimes it's not always predicated on DNA. Sometimes just loving somebody and wanting the best from them makes them your chosen family.